11 News starts with breaking news.
State lawmakers say they're having trouble getting answers on that massive contact tracing data breach exposed by Target 11. Good afternoon, I'm Gordon Lesh.
And I'm Catherine Amenta. The state Senate just wrapping up a hearing, and Target 11 investigator Rick Earl has broken every detail of this story, and he joins us live at the breaking news desk. Rick?
Yeah, Catherine and Gordon, lawmakers were hoping to learn much more about this massive data breach, but that Senate hearing didn't go quite as planned. The Department of Health pulled out, and representatives from the company hired to do the contact tracing were a no-show. Now, during brief remarks this morning, lawmakers referenced our exclusive reporting.
A WPXI reporter broke the story and has since caused a myriad of reactions by the administration as to when the department was first notified of this breach.
Now, the senator talking about our exclusive report and emails obtained by Target 11 that show the state health department was aware of the potential data security issues back in February, but didn't take any action until last month when we showed them the unsecured links detailing the personal health information of more than 70,000 people across the state contacted by contact tracers. Lawmakers were hoping to get to the bottom of who knew what and when, but the health department pulled out of the hearing because of the class action lawsuit filed just last week, and no one from Insight Global showed up this morning. The empty hearing room drew criticism from lawmakers.
As you can see, the chairs are empty. We don't have answers. Where is that government that works in that transparency? That's what I'm asking. That's what we need. That's why we have.
Now, the lawmakers urged the state attorney general to open an investigation into the data breach, and they said the committee would take every measure available to get to the bottom of the data breach, including the possibility of issuing subpoenas to force people to appear. Live at the breaking news desk, Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
We'll be watching, Rick. Thank you. And more breaking news now. A judge just handed down 7 life sentences against a former nursing assistant. On top of those 7 sentences, the judge added 20 years. Rita Mays pleaded guilty last year after she admitted to giving 7 patients unprescribed insulin injections. She made an emotional apology in the courtroom this morning. But in court, Mays was in tears as she gave a statement saying, quote, "There's no words that I can say that can offer the families any comfort. I can only say I'm sorry for the pain I caused them and my family." After the statement, her attorney described Mays' military service and said she suffered from mental health issues and was being treated at the Clarksburg, West Virginia VA hospital herself. He blamed the VA for allowing her to care for patients. One of the victims, Felix McDermott, was from Westmoreland County. He died in 2018. We have a Channel 11 crew at the courthouse, so look for today's development starting at 5 on Channel 11 News.
A warrant is out for this man after he escaped from police custody. Police say it started with a high-speed chase and crash. Channel 11's Mike Holden spoke with the Penn Hills police chief, who has a lot of questions he wants answered.
Police say this guy's actions were reckless, weaving in and out of traffic before ultimately crashing right here. They've now issued a warrant out for his arrest, and they're still trying to process why he did all of this. You are looking at 19-year-old Mark Clements III. He's facing a number of criminal charges after police say he sped away from officers and ultimately crashed his car at Cole Hollow and Verona Roads. He was taken into custody and transported to UPMC Mercy for back issues. However, police confirmed to Channel 11 he walked right out of the hospital and is on the run. Penn Hills police say this all started Saturday. Officers spotted Clements in an SUV that matched the description of a car involved in the shooting of an 11-year-old in the Hill District. As they tried to pull Clements over, he allegedly sped off, going upwards to 90 miles per hour before crashing into a car and being arrested. Even then, though, police allege he wouldn't comply with the orders.
That's the whole problem. Why was he going that way for a traffic violation? What was in his mind, we have no idea. But needless to say, he was putting a lot of people in danger.
And Penn Hills police tell us if you know where Clements is, they want to hear from you right now. In the meantime, we're now tracking his dangerous drive and hearing from the police chief one-on-one about why he says he should turn himself in for Channel 11 News starting at 5 o'clock tonight. Reporting in Penn Hills, Mike Holden, Channel 11 News.
Well, the weather's doing a repeat of yesterday, and the spring chill continues. Meteorologist Danielle Dozier has the forecast now at Severe Weather Center 11.
Yeah, hey, Gordon, we're certainly seeing some clouds out there this morning. We've had a little bit of shower activity as well. Now we're getting into the afternoon, I guess, and you can take a look at some of those clouds that are still streaming across our region today. So it's going to be partly sunny. We still are holding on to a few showers here down to the south in Uniontown and parts of Fayette County. Those continue to push to the south, and there's just a few spots of rain along the I-80 corridor right now. Temperatures are in the lower 50s, but it's only 49 in Washington. It's 53 in Pittsburgh. Today we're climbing into the mid-50s under that partly sunny sky, and it'll be breezy, so it'll feel even cooler. Make sure you have your jackets on as you head out this afternoon. I think the rain is going to be pretty spotty in nature for the remainder of the afternoon. I'll walk you through that forecast and let you know who will be dealing with frost worries tonight coming up.
Boy, all right, we'll be watching, Danielle. Thank you. One hurdle down, one more to go. Tomorrow, the CDC will vote on whether to recommend Pfizer's COVID vaccine for children 12 to 15 years old. Comes after the FDA gave its emergency use authorization yesterday. As Britt Conway reports, pediatricians are already getting ready, and they say parents can get ready too.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, stick.
Pfizer just got the FDA's stamp of approval to extend the emergency use authorization for its COVID-19 vaccine for kids 12 to 15 years old. The FDA calls it a significant step in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
It was a relatively straightforward decision. The response to the vaccine was excellent, and in fact, it was even better in the younger age group.
Now it's up to the CDC. A vaccine advisory committee will meet Wednesday to decide whether to recommend the vaccine for that age group. Because it's the same vaccine, it's already available in a number of places. And pediatricians are prepping to get the vaccine too, making sure they have a freezer that's cold enough, training staff, and figuring out record keeping. They're also talking to parents. Childhood vaccinations have plunged since the pandemic began, and doctors say parents need to make sure their kids are up to date on all of their vaccines, knowing COVID-19 vaccines could be available by Thursday.
Getting more of our population vaccinated is critical to moving forward and past this pandemic.
Some parents are hesitant. Others are ready, grateful.
Okay, all set.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
Pediatricians with Allegheny Health Network strongly recommend that families get their children vaccinated as soon as possible. They call it an essential step in reaching herd immunity. AHN plans to host future vaccine clinics geared toward families and children. The North Hill School District is holding a clinic for students age 16 and over right now. Dose 1 of the Pfizer vaccine is being administered. Students must have permission from a parent or guardian. At least 60 students have signed up. They'll return for a second dose in 3 weeks.
It has been a tough year, as we know, for children trying to learn from home, and a lot of parents say their kids have fallen behind. Channel 11's Alyssa Raymond explains a new bill that state lawmakers say will help students make up for lost time.
There's a new Senate bill on the table. If passed, it would give parents the ability to decide whether their kids should move on to the next grade or repeat a grade. For years, it's been up to the recommendation of the district and the student's teacher. Here's another thing the bill would allow. Currently, students in special education programs age out of the system at 21 years old. The bill would let these students stay in school an additional year. This would change a school code that was established back in 1949. Senator Jay Corman is behind the bill, and in a recent release, he said, quote, "The pandemic has taught us that every child learns differently. Some students struggle with homebound education. Given the circumstances, it makes sense to give parents a stronger say in whether their kids should advance to the next grade level or repeat a grade to make up for learning loss during the pandemic." The Senate Education Committee just approved the bill. Now it heads to the full Senate for consideration. Reporting on the North Shore, Alyssa Raymond, Channel 11 News.
A former hospital police officer has filed a whistleblower lawsuit against the Washington health system. According to the lawsuit, Mark Kolakowski claims he was fired after bringing up concerns about the hospital's police department. He claims the hospital retaliated against him after he raised concerns. The hospital says in part, quote, "Washington health system acted appropriately in all respects, and the claimant worked 2 days for our system, 1 day in orientation and 1 half day as an officer, and we will defend this matter with vigor and resolve."
Almost 2 years after their son's murder, the family of Terrence Jones is pleading for help. They released these new pictures of the 21-year-old with a message. His mother writing, "I miss you, son. I miss your smile, your presence. I know in my heart God is going to bring us justice." Jones was shot and killed in August of 2019. Police found him in the doorway of an apartment complex on Chauncey Drive in Bedford Dwellings. They say there were several people in that area at the time of the shooting. No one has ever been arrested. Police say his case is still open and they are actively investigating, and his family is pleading for anyone with information to please come forward.
New at noon, Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro testified before a U.S. Senate committee this morning on ghost guns. Shapiro is calling on the government to close a federal loophole to stop the sale of unregulated do-it-yourself gun kits. Right now, you don't have to go through a background check to buy the kits, which includes spare parts, and there are no serial numbers on the guns.
The consequences are heartbreaking. Last March, a former Temple University football player was killed on the streets of Chinatown in Philadelphia with a ghost gun, fired by someone, and this is important, who would not have passed a background check, yet still got their hands on one of these.
The kits can be assembled in minutes with everyday tools. Shapiro says law enforcement has seen a 437% jump in ghost guns in Pennsylvania since 2018. Well, let's hope this is not a look at things to come in Pittsburgh. Long lines at gas stations in Florida as fallout continues from the cyber attack that shut down a major East Coast fuel pipeline. That critical pipeline is still out of commission, and every moment it's offline makes it more likely Americans could pay more at the pump because of gas shortages. Right now, gas prices in and around Pittsburgh are at around $3.09 a gallon, up 6 cents from last week.
The Greater Pittsburgh Community Food Bank is hosting a drive-up food distribution tonight at Pittsburgh Mills in Tarentum. It goes from 5 to 7 this evening. You do have to make a reservation, and they'll be handing out 50 pounds of food to each car. They say they'll be able to help up to 750 families. Parents have warrants out for their arrest because the school district says their daughter missed a lot of days of school.
She did not miss 51 days of school.
Why the family says they cannot turn themselves in.
Should they stay or should they go? The push to let restaurants and bars keep selling cocktails to go.
Well, the showers we were tracking earlier are moving out for now. Coming up, I'm going to let you know when we're going to see a little more sunshine, plus how cold it's going to be when you head out tomorrow morning.
And how neighbors say an attempt to make a road safer actually made it more dangerous for drivers. We'll show you what they mean up next.
Drivers who use Miller's Run Road in South Fayette say new barriers are making it difficult for them to see. A section of Miller's Run is blocked off after a landslide took out part of the roadway more than a year ago. PennDOT put up tall barriers after drivers kept hitting cones that were there. But the drivers we talked to think the temporary fix has made it harder to see when a car is coming from the opposite direction.
I don't know who goes first. You know, you sit there and you wait, and then the other person is so far away, you have no idea if they're coming at you or not.
Unfortunately, drivers will have to deal with this a while longer. PennDOT says Miller's Run Road will not be fixed until next year.
Parents tell Channel 11 there are warrants out for their arrest, and it's because their child missed more than 100 days of school. But their mom says there is more to this story.
I can't be on top of her 24/7 because if I don't work, we don't have a roof over our head or a car.
Amy Hudak spoke with the family, and they say they cannot afford what lies ahead.
I went to go check my mailbox, and I was like, what is this? And I seen a warrant. I automatically contacted my husband, like, we have a warrant. Like, why do we have a warrant for something like this, you know?
Sierra Ellis says she was stunned to find this pink piece of paper, a warrant for her arrest and her husband's, in her mailbox. North Hill Schools saying their child missed more than 100 days of class.
I have no words for it. It's been really rough. There's been times where I have cried, you know, broken down, wondering how we gonna make it, you know, if I can make it.
Ellis is juggling 3 kids, a newborn baby, eviction, bankruptcy, and 1 income. She's a nurse who goes into the COVID units of local nursing homes. Her husband, once in the hotel industry, is out of work. They assumed their child was logging in for class.
And I can't be on top of her 24/7 because if I don't work, we don't have a roof over our head or a car. There has been times where she'll be in class and the teacher will be like, well, I'm have to mark you absent because you didn't mark some attendance papers.
Under state law, students are considered truant if they have 3 or more unexcused absences in a school year. The district says they did everything they could so it didn't get to this point, including multiple letters and emails, 3 failed home visits, attempt to call secondary contacts, no answer for a truancy improvement meeting call, and the parents were no shows in court. Ella says she's now slapped with a $725 fine she can't pay.
Like, if somebody gonna knock on my door and I have my kids and somebody's gonna take me to jail, I don't want my kids seeing something like that.
Amy Hudak, Channel 11 News.
We spoke with the district, and they told us, again, they did everything they could to make sure the family knew what was happening, but were unsuccessful. And that's why they had to get the courts involved.
The Butler County Drive-In has been busy hosting concerts and other outdoor events, but neighbors in Center Township want them to turn the volume down. Since last summer, Suzanne Wilson says her quiet home has been rocked by loud events held at the Starlight Drive-In. Last night, Wilson and several neighbors took their complaints to the Board of Supervisors, and the group is asking the board to create a noise ordinance.
Not just music events, comedians, and they take place on weeknights, through the weekends, Sunday nights. There's no rules or regulations.
And council said they've been in contact with the drive-in's owner, who says they're willing to find a compromise.
New at noon, a deep discount for workers at Sheetz. Robert Morris University has reached a deal with Sheetz that will help its workers earn a college degree. All of Sheetz's full-time and part-time employees are eligible. They can choose from any of RMU's certificate, bachelor's, or master's degree programs. Officials say the tuition discount at RMU will provide, along with Sheetz's existing tuition benefits, many workers will pay little to nothing out of pocket to earn a college degree.
Your severe weather Team 11 forecast.
Well, good afternoon. Taking another look outside, we do have some clouds to contend with today, and we have a bit of a breeze. If you've been out, you've probably noticed it. The wind right now is sustained at 16 here in the city and 15 in Beaver. Got a 12-mile-per-hour wind in the Greensburg area. These winds will peak around 20 miles per hour, sustained through late day and into the early evening hours before finally letting up as we get closer toward about 9 to 10 o'clock tonight. If you're out walking your dog here this afternoon, the temperatures will be on the cool side. We're only topping out in the mid to upper 50s this afternoon with a partly sunny sky. That means more clouds than sun, and that's what we're going to contend with for the rest of the evening as well. As far as the temperatures go, it will not feel like it should this time of year, not only in the afternoons in the next few days, but also the overnight low temperatures and morning temperatures, if you will. So we're looking at a frost advisory across the area that was just issued until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning for the area, as we do highlight those temperatures falling down into the middle 30s for many of us, and some of those highest elevations of the ridges could actually dip down to freezing tonight. So you're going to want to make sure you wrap up your plants and flowers overnight tonight. 36 degrees in Pittsburgh under a mostly clear sky. I think eventually we'll thin out the clouds. The winds will turn lighter, as I mentioned, here by late tonight and into the overnight period. They're going to be out of the west-northwest at 5 to 10. Wind direction is important because when you get a northwesterly wind, that is a cooler wind for us. So it's just reinforcing the cooler air from the north. 34 in Butler tonight, about 36 in Beaver, 34 in Uniontown. So it's all we're all going to be dealing with the cold weather into tomorrow morning. Wanted to bring this to your attention again. We do have yet another time stamp for the NASA rocket launch. It was scrubbed once again yesterday, so we'll have to keep our eye on it. It is set for tonight again at 8:05. Again, Wallops Island, Virginia, so you're going to look toward the east or east-southeast, closer to this area, 30 to 60 seconds after launch. Tomorrow, we're looking at a beautiful day. Temperature will climb to near 60 under a mostly sunny sky. Northwesterly winds will blow right around 10 to 15 miles per hour, so we are in for another breezy day. But at least the temperature is climbing a bit. Still may need a light jacket, though, as you head out. It'll be chilly in the morning, too, at 36, as I mentioned. 37 into Thursday morning. Thursday afternoon, 65, and things are trending better in the temperature department as we head into the end of the week. We're still on par for 65 Friday, still several degrees shy of where we should be for this time of year, which is up around 71. So we're having some isolated showers in the forecast for Friday and Saturday. Sunday looks good, though, at 70 degrees. I mentioned where we should be for this time of year. We often talk about averages, normals, things like that as far as rainfall and snow goes and temperatures. So coming up in the next half hour, I've got a new update. NOAA just released their new climate normal. So I'm going to let you know where Pittsburgh is headed. Are we wetter? Are we warmer? Are we colder? So you're going to want to stick around for that coming up in the next half hour.
Very interesting. All right. Thanks, Danielle. 2 businesses hit hard by the pandemic, forced to close again.
Water was gushing from the ceiling. It had obviously been running for quite some time.
What caused all this damage and what the owner says could help them get back on their feet.
And the FAA says they're seeing it more than ever before. The reason a man and woman were kicked off of a flight at Pittsburgh International. Stay with us.
Two businesses in Ligonier are closed for now after a broken water pipe flooded their sales floor. The damage was discovered Friday morning at Paws on Main and the Tree House. The owners estimate the damage will cost thousands of dollars.
Water was gushing from the ceiling. It had obviously been running for quite some time. The carpeting was completely soaked and just a lot of damage.
Repairs are being made, but the owners don't know how long their shops will be closed.
We have new information about a confrontation on a plane that led to two passengers getting kicked off the flight at Pittsburgh International. That flight was about to leave for Fort Lauderdale when a crew member noticed a woman wasn't wearing her mask properly. We spoke with a passenger who says that the flight attendants repeatedly asked her to fix her mask, but they say she refused and argued with them.
Kind of like put her middle finger up towards the flight attendant. Was really rude, and so they just came over and escorted them off the plane.
It comes just days after another mask incident happened on a Southwest flight. That's when a group of women said that they were thrown off their return flight from West Palm Beach to Pittsburgh when one of them lowered her mask to blow her nose. The airline telling a little bit of a different story, saying that the woman wasn't wearing her mask correctly throughout the flight.
Coming up, I've got some weather pictures to show you at home. Plus, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking in this next half hour about those new climate normals and what we're seeing. Did you see that? I don't know what that was. Under attack. We're going to have to, yeah, I think that was a bug. Coming up, we're going to talk more about where Pittsburgh is headed. Are we wetter? Are we warmer? Stick around.
Take cover. And 6 Steelers Super Bowl rings for less than $100. A local man knew it was too good to be true, but he bought them anyway.
I guess you realize then you're not getting your rings, huh?
Not getting the rings, not getting the money.
Customs and Border Protection got a hold of them first. Target 11 giving you an inside look at how the agency tracks down counterfeit products here at home. Welcome back. We could have a stray shower today, and the spring chill is still with us. Danielle, as long as that fly is gone.
We were just talking about that. I was just about to say that, Catherine. As long as the fly is gone, we are good. I was not sure what that was, actually, but they told me it was a fly. 53 in Pittsburgh right now. It's 54 in Indiana. It is cool out there. It's only going to climb into the mid-50s, so the kids are going to need the jackets on, or at least a long sweater if you're heading outside today. The temperature at 4 o'clock right around 56 degrees, cooling to 54 at 6 p.m. And yes, we'll have a bit of a breeze, so it'll feel cooler. And Catherine mentioned a chance for a spotty shower, but I think those are going to be few and far between. Otherwise, it's more clouds than sun for us today. And speaking of sun, look at last night's sunset from Lisa Lane. This was a beautiful picture and a beautiful sunset that was taking place with the brilliant pinks and oranges in the sky. Thanks to Lisa for sending in this picture. And if you have one you want to get on TV, you can tweet me or Facebook me, and we'll try to get it on. Coming up, we'll have more on the warming trend that we have in the forecast as we head into the end of the week.
Thanks, Danielle. From Steelers Super Bowl rings to designer handbags, these counterfeit items look like the real thing, but these fake products can have a real impact on your health, legitimate businesses, and workers in this country. Customs and Border Protection seized nearly 5 million bogus items in Pittsburgh last year. Now Target 11's Rick Earl is getting a rare behind-the-scenes look as investigators search for bogus merchandise.
The website looked legitimate.
He purchased the Pittsburgh Steelers Super Bowl rings from a website he found on Facebook.
They were only $99, so I knew that they weren't going to be authentic. I just wanted them for my display case and, with the rest of my Steeler gear.
But the rings never showed up to his house in Glassport. Then he found out on WPXI.com that they had been confiscated by Customs and Border Protection officers.
Couldn't believe it.
I guess you realize then you're not getting your rings, huh?
Not getting the rings, not getting the money. I guess it's a learning lesson.
The counterfeit Super Bowl rings just one of the $4.6 million worth of items seized in Pittsburgh last year alone. Across the country, CBP confiscated 26,000 shipments last year with a price tag of $1.3 billion. We went along with Customs and Border officers as they combed through international packages at a warehouse near Pittsburgh International Airport. The packages come off the trucks right here, and then they're placed on this conveyor belt. And this is where officers for U.S. Customs and Border Protection look for counterfeit items.
So this in particular, it's a Ping golf club. We know Ping is not made in China. So we'd have a pretty good idea already that these may be counterfeit.
They're also searching for illegal items like drugs or drug paraphernalia, like these marijuana grinders.
Considered drug paraphernalia, and are unable to be imported into the United States, and will be seized for that.
Let's face it, the people who are making these counterfeit items aren't interested in your health. They're interested in making a buck, plain and simple.
William Fitting is the port director in Pittsburgh. He says the bottom line, protecting consumers.
Lead paint on toys or other items that your kid may put in his mouth. That's a problem. That's really what we're looking for. We're not looking to ruin anybody's party.
90% of the items seized are from China or Hong Kong. And since the pandemic began, nationwide, officers have seized 34.6 million counterfeit masks and 178,000 FDA-prohibited COVID test kits.
If you've ever had a COVID test, I mean, that goes up into your sinus. If you're doing that and this is a counterfeit item, you don't know whether these were done under stringent conditions or was this just manufactured in some warehouse somewhere.
And the most popular items seized? Watches and jewelry, apparel, handbags and wallets, shoes, and consumer electronics. Fitting says they don't typically confiscate one or two items. They're looking for bulk items bought to resell. He says they can harm legitimate brands.
Very rarely are we going after the person who bought one of something, a bag, a jersey. We're looking at the people who are buying cases of things that are in turn selling them as legitimate items. And now the consumer doesn't know the difference because they're, well, I'm buying it in a store, it must be genuine. Now that brand is going to take a hit because it fell apart in a week.
And the port director says these counterfeit goods can also impact jobs and workers in this country. Now, the feds don't have jurisdiction over manufacturers overseas, but they have gone after buyers in this country. In 2019, the seizures led to 265 arrests and 157 convictions. Rick Earl, Channel 11 News.
And more details, Amazon has shut down more than 10 billion listings as it cracks down on counterfeit products. In the last year, the company says it spent more than $700 million and dedicated more than 10,000 employees to fight fraud and abuse Amazon also says it seized more than 2 million counterfeit products sent to fulfillment centers. Those products were destroyed.
Some of the biggest changes to voting rights in decades are up for debate today. A bill passed by the House could mean a massive overhaul of our elections process. The For the People Act would automatically register eligible citizens to vote, guarantee 2 weeks of early voting, and allow mail-in ballots. It's a response to new voting rules by Georgia and other GOP-led states that critics say limit voting.
This is a full-fledged assault on voting rights, unlike anything we have seen since the era of Jim Crow.
In Georgia, we're making it easier to vote and harder to cheat.
Republicans call the bill a power grab and a federal takeover of state-run elections. The bill faces an uphill battle in the Senate, needing 60 votes to pass.
A CNN news crew covering the tensions in Israel gets caught in the conflict.
Guys, we have sirens. Let's go.
See the entire crew run for shelter there. The sirens were sounded after Palestinian militants launched dozens of rockets from Gaza, and Israel unleashed new airstrikes against them. The escalation triggered by soaring tensions in Jerusalem and days of clashes at a mosque in the Holy City. NBC's Keir Simmons reports.
Israeli airstrikes continued into the early hours of this morning. 130 targets across the Palestinian Gaza Strip, Israel's military said, releasing cockpit video of the operation. Palestinian officials say 24 people, including 9 children, died. Israel says 15 were members of the militant group Hamas. A mother and her son were killed, this man says. Israel's prime minister declaring a red line was crossed with hundreds of rockets fired from Gaza, 6 targeting Jerusalem, and overnight 2 apartment buildings hit in Ashkelon. 3 were injured with different levels of severity, says this Israeli police officer. The attacks followed days of unrest in Jerusalem and the West Bank. The worst violence for years there. Confrontations between Israeli police and Palestinian protesters, with 700 injured, the Palestinian Red Crescent says. The mounting anger over threatened evictions of Palestinian families. International calls for calm ignored.
Deeply concerned about the rocket attacks that we are seeing now that need to stop and need to stop immediately.
Palestinians demanding President Biden intervene.
Let him look at our system and see how Palestinians live under this brutal occupation.
Israel once again reverberating to the sound of retaliation and reprisals. And the Israeli defense minister has now authorized the calling up of 5,000 reservists, a signal of Israel's determination and a signal to Washington that things could still escalate further. Keir Simmons, NBC News, London.
Still to come this afternoon, America has a problem with debt, but the money isn't just adding up on credit cards, the one kind of debt that a lot of people can't avoid. Welcome back. We know that a lot of Americans are in debt, but it doesn't all come down to credit cards.
Our consumer advisor Clark Howard has more on one kind of debt that is ruining credit, and a lot of times there's nothing you can do about it.
Do you know nearly half of debt that people face that ruins their credit is medical debt? And the big problem, hospitals, because hospitals are really reluctant to tell you what it's actually going to cost for something you're going there for that's non-emergency. But a little known secret, they have to publish price lists now that you can access on a hospital's website. So if you have insurance, you know at different places what it's going to cost you for a particular treatment that you're going to get or procedure. If you don't have insurance, you're only going to see their retail price. So ahead of time, if it's non-emergency, you want to negotiate with a hospital so you don't later on get a bill that's gigantic. If you do end up with a hospital bill you can't handle, stay in contact with them. Talk to the hospital. They may have a patient advocate you can talk to, and see if you can negotiate a significant discount on the bill. I'm Clark Howard.
When restaurants and bars were shut down for in-person service last year, the governor signed a law making cocktails to go a thing.
So should they stay or should they go? The push to let the good times roll. Stay with us. A year ago, the governor signed a bill allowing bars and restaurants to sell cocktails to go as a temporary fix to bring in money. The law will expire once the COVID disaster emergency ends. But Channel 11's Joe Arena reports there's a push to make it permanent.
Very few things have been popular during the pandemic, but one thing that's been a plus for many local businesses is alcohol to go, something many owners say needs to stick around.
We've enjoyed a couple margaritas from local Mexican places.
And Ian Donovan is one of a handful of people we spoke to today who've been taking advantage of restaurants and bars selling alcohol to go. This option was given to bars, restaurants, and hotels about a year ago during the first lockdown. And people like Ian, who admits he isn't a big drinker, have still taken advantage of the option. and he realizes what it means for these businesses.
That's really all they got right now is alcohol to go.
And what Ian just said describes Art Barbas's situation here at the House of 1,000 Beers. He's dealing with staffing shortages and doesn't even know if he'll be able to serve food tomorrow. And even though he specializes in beer, Art's business has also benefited from alcohol-to-go sales.
The alcoholic cocktails add a whole nother revenue stream.
And right now, the House of Representatives is considering a bill that would make alcohol-to-go sales permanent.
I think that's great. Once we know that it's permanent, a lot of us can really start promoting it and really do some great things with that revenue stream that we could now have under our umbrella.
In Allegheny County, Joe Arena, Channel 11 News.
Allegheny County officials are doing what they can to help the hospitality industry. The county just handed out more than $15 million in state funding. More than 600 businesses benefited from the recovery program grants. On average, each got just over $22,000. Now the county is looking for ways to add money to the program to help more small businesses.
Your severe winter Team 11 forecast.
Welcome back. We are taking a look at the new climate normals released by NOAA. And this is really important to us because we are now looking at the new normals between 1991 and 2020. Every decade, we get a new set of normals, which is a 30-year period that we look at. And it tells us the average temperature, the average precipitation, as well as snowfall and other climate variables. So what we're looking at here is the old normals. I put this together. Our average temperature was 51.3 degrees for the year. Now it's 51.8 based on the new normal. So that is a half a degree warmer. Then you take a look at rainfall, where we have stood and where we are now. Our departure, 1.42 inches. So we are wetter. And our snowfall was 41.3 inches. That was the annual average snowfall for 1981 to 2010. And so our new is 44.1 inches. So we're actually trending snowier on the order of about 3 inches. And there's much more, including where the U.S. stands in regards to the new normals on our website. I wrote an article at WPXI.com. Take a look here at what we're doing right now. We are tracking some rain down to the south and eastern Fayette County. That's continuing to push out. We've had just some spotty light rain up along the I-80 corridor. Those are moving east, and the model data has been really honing in on just a few spotty showers up there, and these out there right now in Fayette County continuing to push off. The rest of the afternoon is going to feature more clouds than sun. If we're lucky, we'll get some breaks in the clouds as we head into evening to be able to see that rocket. Keep our fingers crossed that it actually launches. We've been saying this for days now. They just have not had the right weather conditions there in Virginia. Well, here's a look at our wind forecast here locally, because the winds are breezy. We've had winds 10 to even 15 miles per hour. I think they could be sustained as high as 20 this afternoon. You see a little yellow shaded color there. And the winds will be strong throughout the late day and early evening before they finally taper off around 9, 10 o'clock. So we're looking at this point, winds right around 5 to 10 miles per hour. What does this mean for you? Well, it is breezy outside, and coupled with an air temperature that's only going to climb into the mid to upper 50s today, it will feel a little bit cooler to you. So grab your jackets. Tonight, we have a frost advisory. This is in effect until 9 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. This is because the air temperatures are going to be falling down into the middle 30s, and so it's really going to be a cold start for us tomorrow morning all across our area. We're looking at 34 in Greensburg, Indiana. So again, don't be surprised if you see that frost out there on your car windshields, as well as on your flowers if you don't bring them in. So make sure you protect those tonight. Running forecast tomorrow, about 47, sunshine at 9 o'clock, mostly sunny in the afternoon, up to a high near 60. 60 in Beaver, 60 in Washington, 61 in Uniontown. 5 days shows 65 by Thursday and Friday, but we have some isolated showers Friday and Saturday to deal with. Our lows are going to be coming up as well into the mid 40s. And we take a look at your weekend always in view. The warmer of the two for the weekend will be Sunday to get outside. And this is finally about where we should be for this time of year.
We'll take it, Danielle. Thank you. Meanwhile, bad news for Facebook. It looks like a majority of iPhone users, they like that new security feature from Apple. A new report found up to 96% of all iPhone users in the U.S. have now disabled the ability for apps to track their online activities. Apple added the app tracking transparency feature to iOS with its latest update. The first of 4 city-run farmers markets is open. They'll run through late November, and you can visit a market every other day across Pittsburgh. The first one launched yesterday in East Liberty. The markets in Carrick, the North Side, and Squirrel Hill are open Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday.
Hey guys, I think we've all realized in the last year or so that the world is unpredictable and you need to be prepared, right? You have to kind of take it upon yourself to make sure that you're ready no matter what happens. And you're going, well, where do I even start? How can I even do that? I have the best idea for you, and you're going to love it. This is called Jump Smart. So number one, this is going to be one little device that does a lot of things. Number one, it's actually going to jump start your car directly to the battery, jump start your car, not waiting for 30 minutes with it plugged into a lighter. Directly jump start your car battery. How great is that? It'll also jump start a boat, an RV, a lawnmower, an ATV, all those kinds of things too. So how fabulous is that? And not only is it going to jump start your car, because you know what? If your battery's dead and you're on the side of the road or you're in the parking lot, you don't want to go talk to strangers and ask for cables, right? You don't want to have to do that. Don't talk to anyone. Jump start your own car. I need one of these in all my cars. I'm sending one to my niece in college. Now, here's another great idea. It will charge your electronic devices. Are your phones dead? Is it an iPad? Is it a gaming system? Maybe it's a long road trip. This can charge things on the way. Maybe the power is out in the house and all your kids' devices are out of power. They're going to love these in the house, and you're going to love them in the car. And wait, there's more, because it's also an amazing flashlight. So it's going to be a regular flashlight. It's going to be a flashlight that does an SOS. It's going to be a flashlight that does a strobe. It's going to be a flashlight that does all those things. And all those things are done in one Jump Smart, and you can recharge this up to 1,000 times. How amazing is that? We have great colors for you, but when you think about this, just think about the peace of mind of knowing that everyone in your family is always prepared. Right now on localsteals.com, these are 29% off, and if you're anything like me, you're counting how many rooms and how many cars you need to get one for.
Ford is recalling more than 500,000 Explorer SUVs. The automaker says retention pins could loosen and allow roof rail covers to detach from the cars. There have been 11 reports of it happening. No injuries have been reported. The recall covers 2016 through 2019 models, and Ford will notify affected owners next month.
A little fun at the ballpark last night before the game. Pirates pitcher Luis Oviedo and Red shortstop Alex Blandino were caught in a little standoff of sorts, each holding their position at the top of the dugout at the end of the national anthem. Caps still over their hearts. The umpire eventually shooed him away and said, you know what, we got to play the game. And the Reds did play. They went and on to win big. The two teams play again tonight.
That's all for Channel 11 News at noon. Our next newscast is tonight at 5.
Have a great day.